Hello again, guys, and welcome back to another Big Owl's Haunted uh, series here on the House of Devlin. So thank you very much for tuning in. If you're interested in the paranormal or in ghosts or anything along those lines, then obviously you're going to be probably enjoying this series because we really do have some real hard footage of shit going on in this house. In my girlfriend's house, there's definitely some activity going on, and when the activity happens, it's pretty damn big. Um, I'm trying to think about what I've already put up because the problem is we're not working almost fully chronologically with the evidence that we provide to you. Like a lot of the mobile footage, like you're getting now, like I'm filming now, can be easily uploaded instantly off my phone straight onto YouTube, and they can be talking to you, and I can tell you things that's going on. The problem is with the camcorder, obviously there's a lot of editing to do with that. I have to first of all upload it. It takes about an hour and a half to upload all the night's coverage, because there's at least 8, 9, 10 hours sometimes of footage, depending on whether we put it on early or late. Or my girlfriend tends to put it on really early just so she can forget about it and go to bed without forgetting to put it on. So, and she's here most of the time, so there is normally a lot of like 10 hours worth of footage, and because I don't live here, I have to go them through like sometimes 5, 6 nights worth of footage all in one go, and it's like, wow, it's a lot of editing. So I do apologise, guys, that the night footage and the camcorder footage within the kitchen, which is where a lot of the activity is occurring, especially regards noises and stuff, isn't getting to you as quickly as I would have hoped, but it is going to get to you. So just be patient, and you'll see a lot of evidence on there. As far as I'm aware, there's no poltergeist activity in the kitchen that has been captured yet, although I'm downloading last night's footage, which I believe may possibly have some activity on there for you to see. I can. Why am I saying this? Well, when I went in the kitchen, everywhere was closed up, so nothing had opened. But at the same time, I had gone in there and I've changed my attitude towards the ghost. I've changed my attitude towards it very much from one of me being threatening towards it and trying to command it out of the house and get it out, to realizing that maybe this is a different kind of spirit to your typical apparition that you would normally get. One that is called a land spirit. Those of you who are into the paranormal may have heard of what a land spirit is, but it's actually might be enlightened that you don't know what it is, because it isn't actually a sort of paranormal term. It's actually a religious term. It's a pagan term, to be precise. And land spirits were spirits that, or are spirits that are typically just live within a certain ecological area. So, and they can be of a variety, a range of ages. There are new land spirits supposedly, but the youngest of land spirits probably 200-300 years old. So even though they're young, to us they're very old. But then you'll have ones that would have been around during the time when Britain itself was completely 100% pagan. Like 2,000-3,000 years ago, and they'll easily be around and can remember the original pagans and everything like this. So land spirits are a little bit different to your typical ghost, so to speak, and then they're not ghosts as such. They are more like sort of just spiritual energies almost. They have a personality. They're often very defensive of their territory, and the territory that they possess, or sort of haunt, if for want of a better word, can be very small or can be very large. They can reside within simply just a single tree, and that's it. One tree or rock or something along those lines, or within an ecological feature like a river or an entire wood. or forest. Obviously, I'm picking up the old sort of features that typically would have been possessed by, well, not possessed, but lived within by a land spirit. But now they don't live within those trees and stuff. So when those trees get cut down, when things are dug up and built up into houses, for example, they still reside within the area, a residential area, for example, that used to be forestry, a wood or forest. And of course, as I say, if this is a particularly old spirit, this would have been a forest not that long ago, a few centuries ago. This would have been forest around here, or farmland at the very least. And it is now obviously a very urban area, and the consequence of that is obviously it's not, won't feel angry about how the area has changed, but it will be simply visiting the people who live on the land, and interacting with them to one degree or another. Now, land spirits can be very aggressive and can place curses on the individuals, but they can also be very benevolent. It just simply really depends on how you treat them. Okay, and so me being aggressive, as you could see, it got a lot more activity out of the spirit at the early start of our filming. Which when the videos come out, you'll see there's a lot of banging. Every time I shout it will stop temporarily, but then come back 10 times worse. It's that kind of activity that then starts to suggest that maybe this isn't a ghost of someone who's just recently deceased, but a spirit that has existed for probably many centuries, because it's not going. A disembodied spirit would eventually go. If you kept telling it to leave, it would go. It would suddenly realise, oh, I'm dead, and go. Possibly. Okay? They're easier to get rid of. But land spirits, they don't. You can get rid of them. You can curse them, so to speak, and the rest of it. But why would you do that when they have been? This is more their home than it is ours in many respects. And so really, that's what I'm updating you on, our change of theory. We're going to change our approach to how we treat it, and see if there's any improvement or changes. And there was. I mean, last night we got the best sleep we've had in weeks, because I just simply said, look, if you want, I'll be your friend. I'm here. I'm pagan myself, and if you're old enough to remember the pagans, you'll know that we respect your kind. That we respect that the fact that you are. Well, we just respect your kind, and we don't. We're not here to hurt you, basically. So please don't hurt us, and we won't hurt you. And if you're kind to us, and and all the rest of it, if you take into consideration the fact we need sleep and stuff like that, then you'll be more than happy to visit the house and the home, do a little bit of noises and stuff like this. That doesn't bother us, it doesn't scare us, but at the same time, it will be more than tolerated. You'll be allowed to be part of the family, so to speak, providing, as I say, nothing too negative happens. But I've actually asked it to communicate with me in a very specific manner. I've been very specific in the forms of communications it can use with me. I've said you need to be able to open and close doors. And if you can do this and show me that you can do this, because I know you can do it, because you keep doing it. You keep doing it sporadically on my mobile phone. You've just done it this morning. And it's one of the things I'm about to report to you about the activity we've had this morning. And the things that are going on with the camera, also the camcorder. But we know you have the ability to make things move, open, close doors, things like this. Cause bangs by forcing things to fall over, so on and so forth. So if you can do this on the camcorder in the kitchen here, I made it quite specific, whilst we're recording at night, then at least then we have proof that we know that you are what you are, that you understand what we're saying, and we can communicate. Because without communication, we're not going to get anywhere. If we don't know that you understand what we're saying, you're trying to get our attention by making noises. That's all you're trying to do. You're not trying to scare us. We understand that. You're trying just to simply say, hello, hello, I'm here, because you're excited. Perhaps, because I'm pagan, for example, but you remember our people. We are friendly. We're not the typical, Christians, for example, who would get an exorcist or a priest or anything like this to come in and excise you out of the territory, to banish you. We're not like that. We can do it. And pagans do it when there is a particularly bad land spirit around. They'll get rid of them. But if they're a good land spirit, they won't. They'll let them live amongst them, and I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to let the spirit live with me and my girlfriend, because it will actually come to watch over us and protect us to some degree, within its limited capacity, perhaps. But at the end of the day, this thing is quite a powerful one. It is a poltergeist in the sense that it can move things. So, who knows? A burglar tries to come in, it could just trip the burglar alarm, because it obviously can interact with electronics, as I'm about to go into. We got to camcorder, or it could just slam a door shut really loud, even though the burglars are trying to be really quiet, wake me up. I go to the front door and find the burglar. So it could act as a burglar alarm in its own way by slamming doors and stuff like this. So these are the things that the land spirit can do to help us. And as I say, the things that we can do to help it back is we can just respect it. We can be friendly with it. We can let it reside with no issues whatsoever within the property, without fear of being banished. You could always even offer the odd little sort of gratification, so to speak, a sacrifice, if you wish. You leave a bit of milk out for it, and okay, yeah, it's not going to drink the milk, but it's a sign of, like, listen, we're giving you a little bit of our food. We'll get rid of it before it turns, obviously, but it's just a sign. It's a sign of respect. It's a sign that we recognise you're here. We're going to sacrifice a little bit of our food or whatever it might be for you, as a sign of respect. And that's the kind of stuff that we're going to start trying to do, because I'm 100% convinced that this particular spirit that we have in this house is benevolent. I always have been. As soon as I moved in and things started happening, I said, you've got a benevolent spirit here, don't worry. It might be banging, it might be sounding scary, but it's benevolent. Obviously, your attitude changes slightly when you start hearing really aggressive, what you can interpret as aggressive slams against the door and things like this, really big bangs, and so on and so forth. But you don't. But now looking back at it, I was just acting out of fear, I suppose, more than anything. I have been brought up in a Christian country. I have watched poltergeist and paranormal activity. I've watched all the Hollywood ghost stories, and they do sort of stick in the back of your head, and you think, and The Exorcist and things like this, and you think, oh God, what if it's like a demonic entity or something like this? But of course, in my belief system, that they don't exist. Okay, and so I'm willing to go along with the fact that this is a land spirit and treat it as such until proven otherwise. Okay, and if it is malignant, it will show itself to be malignant quite quickly. It'll be very obvious. But I do have a natural instinct to feel whether there is a benevolent or a malignant spirit within a territory or an area. The place I used to live, I had a malignant spirit there. I had a benevolent spirit occasionally visiting and all the rest of it. There was a malignant spirit that every 3 months would suddenly appear, and it was not pleasant. It was unpleasant. That wasn't a land spirit. That was something else. I don't know what it was, but it was not a land spirit, because it wasn't there all the time. Land spirits are continual. They're here all the time. They might go, and it depends on how large its territory is. It might go over to the neighbours for a little while, whatever, but it's here all the time, very regularly. Okay, but when something like that, where it is not around for sometimes 3 to 6 months, but then suddenly appears, that's a malignant spirit. Now there were benevolent spirits that would visit that property also, but that was because I lived next to a cemetery. I lived next to a graveyard, and so those were probably disembodied spirits of individuals. They didn't really interact. They didn't do anything. You could just feel them almost passing through. Occasionally, some weird shit happened, but it was only really when the malignant spirit, when you just got that cold feeling of menace. I won't say evil, menace, of destruction, of whatever, would suddenly appear, and you like, I gotta get out of this room. Okay, I'm going upstairs. I'm getting out of this room. There's something watching me, and it doesn't like me. Okay, and that definitely existed within my older property. So now what we're going to talk about is what's happened in the most recent period of time that will not be on camcorder or on mobile phone footage, because I haven't been able to get it. On the camcorder, you will actually see on this particular filming, which I will release, I think, today. I will try and edit it down and release today, even though it's not chronological. It's what it's like a week after what I've already got. I want to go straight into editing this because, one, I want to see if there is poltergeist activity, because I've specifically requested it, but two, there was some weird shit that happened last night, and it was poltergeist activity. It wasn't caught on camera because it was in the bedroom. Immediately after, about 5 minutes after I requested paranormal activity from the land spirit, that I said, can you move something, like move the cupboards. I was very specific. You can open and close the cupboards, so on and so forth, in this room, and just that way, that's a way that I then know that you understand what I'm asking of you, and that way we can then start to communicating, and we can maybe learn your name or do something. We can go from there, but we need a basis of communication to start off with, some basic sort of yes and no sort of thing, like open the cupboard once for yes, close it, open and close it twice for no, or something. I'm looking forward into the future, okay, and I know that's very optimistic, because obviously nothing like that has ever been caught on camera before, but and it may not want itself to be known to that extent, that it exists to the outside world. It may just want to make itself known to myself, for example, because it tends to leave my girlfriend alone. My girlfriend never gets any of the haunting aspects, the poltergeist activity. It never happens around her, it happens around me, and that's why I'm starting to believe, and certainly because I did a live YouTube video last night, where we actually discussed this in part. It was a paganistic video. It was a video all about pagan belief systems and trolls and pixies and spirits in general, and owls and dwarfs and all that. But we did have a focus on what was going on in my house, in my property, and if you're interested in that, by the way, go to Celtic God. Celtic God is a YouTuber here on YouTube, and it will be on there. It was a 4-hour long video, but the first 20 minutes will be probably silence, because it took us a while to get the technology working. We're all a bit technophobic. We don't quite know how to get it all working, but once we got it working, we started filming and talking about stuff, and we actually happened to bring this up, and he's doing a video tonight. I've been invited along. I don't know if I can make it, but if I can, you'll hear me talking live on that channel, so please go check it out. But I can't promise I'll be there tonight, because I do have other stuff to handle, and I don't know how long it's going to go on with. And it's just also, as well as that, even if I don't have stuff to handle, which as I say I do today, but even when I don't, obviously I've got my girlfriend to look after, and she may need me, because obviously she of a limited mobility. Sometimes she needs help getting in and out of the shower or things like this, if her legs are particularly weak and tired. But and also I've got to look after the dog and help look after the dog and stuff when she's too tired to get off the sofa and stuff. But anyway, I'm diverging and I'm going off on a tangent. So what's happened today? Well, first of all, I'm going to talk about the basic stuff, and then I'm going to give you the really juicy information right at the end of this video, which you're going to want to hear. First of all, the camcorder. I have that plugged into the AC socket all night long. I have it turned on, and when I get there, it's telling me it is being, it's plugged in, it's been powered up. However, despite that, its battery is draining. Despite being plugged in, when it's being used, and I leave it in there overnight, it's down to about 8 minutes worth of video, where it's got about 3 hours worth of battery when fully charged. It's only got about 8 minutes worth of battery on there, and it's constantly warning me, low battery, low battery, low battery. It does this every morning. Now, obviously, all spirits, be they land spirits, disembodied spirits, spirits of other forms, and whatever, they themselves don't have a body to produce energy for them. Okay, so if you look at me, what am I? I'm a spirit inside of a body, essentially. That's the way to look at it. And I can provide my spirit, and I can provide my body with energy by eating food. My body converts that food into energy, and the energy can be used to allow me to move my body and to keep, my spirit empowered, I suppose, is one way to look at it. A spirit does not have a body to fuel it and to fuel its actions. So it needs to get its fuel, or i.e. its energy, from elsewhere. So it's simple conservation of energy, guys. Okay, we convert chemical energy that is found in food into movement, like kinetic energy or sound, which is another form of energy. Well, essentially it could be, but it is, yeah. But anyway, without getting too scientific in that sense, we use that chemical energy to do specific functions. A ghost has to get its energy from elsewhere, and typically it will get it from electricity, from electronic devices. And if my camcorder, which is the only thing in there that is electrical and being charged up at that point in time, apart from the night light, it will be getting, that's a constant source of power for it. It can go in there, it can get the camcorder, and it can drain just enough of its battery power to fuel it, to allow it to do poltergeist activity, to do scratches, things like this. So it's using the camcorder. It's obvious it's using the camcorder, because the camcorder's telling me it's at 2% battery when it should be 100%, over 100% almost. I was worried about overcharging the battery overnight, but it's let's just put it this way, for the cynics out there who go, oh no, you've got it on, so it will be using energy, and so it won't fully charge, and it will drain of battery over time. No. The national grid should be able to handle the energy requirements of a very modern camcorder. That's all I'm saying. It should be easily able to handle. If the national grid can't handle a camcorder, we've got a problem, because we're going to have a national crisis soon. Energy is going to run out, right? Things are going to stop working very quickly. So no, there is something actively draining the camcorder, which is over there. I'm just taking last night's video footage out of it. I'm editing it down. Now, when I was editing it, I was over there with my headphones on. Because I like to have my headphones on when I'm on my PC, just to listen to footage as I download it. Sometimes gives me an indication of whether something's happened or not. And my door's just opened slightly, which is about why I was about to just go. How's that door opening all the time now? This door, right, it's been rigid as anything. As I say, it doesn't open. There's no breeze. We don't have any doors open or windows open. Very rarely that we do that. The dog's barking, so there's obviously something going on. But I mean, let me just show you quickly. This door was fully closed a second ago. I mean, completely 100% closed. And as you can see, it's opened ever so slightly. A very small amount. But it's opened a little bit just then, and as you've seen, there's no one on the other side. Obviously, they've had plenty of time to run away. So if I'm faking it, I'm faking it, guys. But I'm not. I'm telling you, I don't fake shit. I can't lie. That's my problem. I can't lie. Okay, I tell you the truth and the full truth as well. It's just part of my brain damage essentially, and part of the effect that I went through when I went through the car crash. I changed when I came back. I changed. I can't lie. I physically can't lie. I'm unable to. So I couldn't fake this stuff, guys. I can't fake it because that would be a lie. It would go against what my brain is capable of handling. But what happened earlier was far more significant than that. I'll just keep an eye on it just in case. I was on the chair over here editing, as I say. Had my headphones on, and then I hear, which as I say, noise cancelling kind of, but you can still hear what's going on around you to some degree. And I hear, I thought my girlfriend had just woken up. She was awake. Well, she was awake, but I thought she was just passing the door and she was playing a joke on me because I could hear scratching of nails down the door. I haven't got any nails, unfortunately, but if I get a pen and try to mimic it, it would probably be like, don't know if the camera picked that up, or I don't want to scratch the thing. That's the problem. I have a file over there that would make it scratch, but it would be like that's kind of scratching noises, but with like, it sounded like 3 or 4 fingers scratching down the door. And I thought, oh yeah, my girlfriend's got really long nails, so I thought, oh, it's her scratching down the door. And as it was scratching, the door was opening, and it opened completely fully. So it was from this semi-open there. That's it closed as it is normally is. And as you see, you have to turn the handle. Okay, so if I show you, look. You have to, you can't, if I'm pulling that, the door doesn't open. That's the status of the door every time you've seen it open. Okay, so to open it, you have to turn the handle, and then you can, you have to pull on it, and it will drift open. My dad was just saying hi then. He was just wondering why the door's opening. As you can see, my dog, he was there a second ago, my dog can't get in if I close that door, and that's why I do it, because I'm editing. That's why I know the door's closed 100% certain, because I have so many wires and stuff down here. He could easily knock things over. He doesn't chew on wires, but he's clumsy. He's a clumsy dog. He knocks things over. But for that door to open, you need to have that handle turn, and then you need a bit of an energy to push it. Once you've pushed it, it's not that hard to move. It's a very light door once it's on the move. But even if I opened the handle, so took it off the latch, so that's open there. You can see it's not moving. It's not opening. If I was to pull it a little bit, it's still not moving that much. I have to give it a real tug. That was me. Give it a real tug, like that. You can see how much I've tugged it to open it that much. So you can see the relative. There's my dog. Hello, doggy. You have to pull it a reasonable amount for it to open, to degrees that you've seen here on the cameras on Big Al's Haunted. So I just wanted to give you a comparison on the amount of energy it takes to open that door. 1, you have to turn a handle, and 2, even if for some reason the latch hasn't caught, which I always make sure it does, because as you can see, my dog pops his head through, and he will come in, and he will possibly knock things. So I have to keep that door locked. Well, not locked, closed. Even if it wasn't fully locked, it still takes quite a push for it to open up, and to open up as much as it has done, even to the small degree that we just saw a minute ago, where the door opened. That still requires the turning of a handle and then a little bit of a gentle push. So with the scratching noises and the door opening as much as it was, I was convinced, because that there, and I could feel the presence there also, that my girlfriend had opened the door but done it in such a creepy way to try and prank me, to joke on me, have a joke on me. And I was like, yeah, baba, whatever, come on, how long are you gonna keep this joke going? As it kept opening up and all that, I said, yeah, very funny, very funny. And then I heard toilet flush, in the bedroom, the ensuite bedroom. And I was like, ah. I went to the door, there was no one there. And then 5 minutes, a couple of minutes later, my girlfriend comes out the bathroom. I go, was that you? Because I know it wasn't really you because you were in the bathroom, obviously. But did you open my door? I'm just asking you. Did you open my door? No, what are you talking about? Because I said my door opened and I had fingernails scratching down it as it was opening. Or just before it opened, the fingernails were scratching on it and then the door opened. And I thought it was you doing a prank on me, but obviously no. So that's the update so far of what things are going on. There are things definitely going on, as you can see. Every time I'm on this camera talking about editing, you always get a little something. It's very strange. There are bangs all over the place. You can still hear banging. You may pick them up on the camera. I've heard a couple of bangs, but because the mic on this isn't as good as obviously a human ear, you've probably not heard it. But have been banging in the background. But we're kind of used to that now. It's weird. You can desensitize to it and you just ignore it. But yeah, that's what's happening so far. But as you can see, I am there it is. I'm downloading off the camcorder. That is, let's just prove to you. See that low battery? Even though it's been plugged in every night since it's been bought, and I plugged it in and charged it up. It was fully charged anyway. I had it on for about 4 to 5 hours before we even started using it. So it's got 4 or 5 hours on top of them being never coming off the charger, apart from when I download onto the PC. But then it goes back onto the charger straight afterwards to make sure it gets back up to full battery, because we can't afford to obviously have this run out of battery at night and miss something. That would be gutting to walk in there, see all the cupboards open, and for this to run out of battery before the cupboards opened. Can't afford to do that, so we're not messing around. We're doing things professionally, but that shows you that the energy fueling the Ghost is obviously partly being provided by the camera and maybe the other electrical goods in there, like the fridge and things like this. I don't know, but anyway, I think that's enough of an update, guys. There's loads of videos coming. The first week where we had the haunting, there's loads of bangs, loads of scratching. I will provide you those videos as and when I've got them fully edited, because I want to do this in a top quality format that I can do. I'm not the best video editor, but I want to do the best job I can. But I'm going to probably give you this week's initial footage, week 2, part 1, we'll call it. Okay, and then I'll change the name of the first one to week 1, part 1. So then you start to see if it's coming out in weird orders, you know roughly when it happened. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. And I'll upload this now so that you'll see this before any other video footage. And happy ghost hunting.